uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
What's happening, guys? Phone number is 888-659-3727. Great to be here with Joe Tillman in his new studio. Joseph W. Tillman, how are you, brother?
I am good, and I got to tell you, I'm glad we got that worked out. For those of you watching in the recast of this, and this came on late, but we were setting up for a new stream key because my old stream key was hacked. And just under 2 weeks ago, or about a week and a half ago, this channel experienced such a bad hack where the content that was being put up on the live stream, not by my control, as far as you guys know, was so offensive, not sexual, that YouTube just took my channel off. I actually lost the hair transplant channel. It was disappeared. It was unalived.
I was relieved
for 3 solid days. Yeah, we don't have to do this.
And what is this comment? What does this mean? I still have gray hair even though I appear dead. What does that mean?
I think he's talking about your representation on the thumbnail for today's show.
Oh, see how easily I'm insulted now in my old age? Jesus, so easily triggered.
But yeah, it's good. It's good to be back on first live stream since the hair hack, which doesn't mean what most people thinks it would mean.
Hold on for a second.
Yeah, but so hopefully we have a good show for you guys. We'll be taking calls from all over the world. The North American toll-free number is up on the screen, and the number for the UK is down in the description if anyone in the UK wants to call in. It's an hour earlier in London right now because they had their fallback by an hour. So it's currently 10 p.m. and change, 10:23 p.m. in London. So it's a little bit earlier, which is nice.
Yeah, what is that? What is with the whole changing of the times for like? There are times when I've done, I was supposed to do streams with, say, Spencer Stevenson, and he sets up time, and all of a sudden his time's all fucked up.
I don't know. Like Greenwich Mean Time is the timeline that goes right down through the middle, I believe, of the UK, and that's the standard that every other time zone is based off of, plus or minus GMT. London is +1 GMT usually.
I mean, how do these people rule
everything
the
else
effing
falls
world
back
for
and,
so
and
long?
moves forward? I don't know.
I never understood that.
They had good boats. That's why.
They definitely had good boats.
They had better boats than anyone else.
But the food.
Yeah. Well, they fed the food to their enemies.
That's
Ooh.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. We're live doing the hair loss show here on the Hair Transplant channel, Joe Tillman's channel. I've been talking about this for a while, but we are setting up a new channel for some broadcasts that I'm going to do. Not live broadcasts necessarily, but I have a series that's going to be coming out, a lot of really cool stuff that's coming out for The Bald Truth to kind of get this message out there in a different and unique way. And I've been putting some work into this, believe it or not, kind of getting off my ass, metaphorically. And I just think I've been saying this for 4 years? It's time. I got all these people on Instagram asking me to do specific videos and stuff. And I'm like, I can't do that on Instagram.
You've been saying it's time for 4 years? Is that what you just said?
I've been saying it's time for at least 4 years, maybe 5 years.
I was thinking more like 10.
Oh. Well, I was saying it was time that we did something more, but I think it's time that I actually create this new channel from scratch and see what happens. I was motivated by something that occurred the other week. I'm not going to get into the particulars of it, but I was like, you know what? All right, I'm going to file that away. I'm going to file that away, and I'm going to start my own YouTube channel.
Again, another one.
Oh, the other stuff. I mean, what's the other channel's ancient? I don't put anything on there. Starting from scratch, guys. The phone number is 888-659-3727. We're here to take your phone calls. I'm Spencer Kobren, founder of the American Hair Loss Association. Joe Tillman is the original hair transplant mentor. And no, we are not physicians. However,
Exactly.
we can't give medical advice. However, look, at the risk of sounding obnoxious, I essentially helped to build the good side, which is very small, of this industry. Period. Started out in 1998. There were 11 doctors who were doing pure follicular unit hair transplant surgery. No one else, everyone else was doing mini micros. I wrote a book about it. I put these 11 doctors in the book. And guess what? All of a sudden, everyone was like, why am I not in the book?
Yeah.
You know, I never forget a conversation with Dow Stout, who I find he's a good guy. You know, we've definitely been able to speak over the years. But he essentially told me that I rewrote the history of hair transplant surgery. And why wasn't he in the book? Well, I contacted his office, which he probably doesn't remember, when I was doing my original research. And essentially, he's like, well, did you sell the book? Or someone said that. I don't know if it was him. I forget. It was so long ago. I'm like, well, no, I have an agent, and I'm putting the book together. And it was like, call me when you sell the book or when it's going to be published. I never forget that. Now, he may not have said that. It may have been a rep at his office or whatever. But he would have gotten in that book. He just had to take a little time for a little kid who was writing a book. Chose not to.
Well, he was getting so many offers at the time. He learned to filter through them.
Right.
Because
exactly.
so many people
were interested in writing the bald truth about this industry. So, yeah, before 1998, a handful of doctors doing follicular unit transplantation using microscopes, and then everyone was essentially financially forced to improve the infrastructures of their practices, to create an environment for their patients that, you know, not only was safer, but they were going to come away with realistic results for the first time in hair transplant history. Did not exist. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Joe was screwed up around the same time, a few years earlier. And all these doctors, everyone at the ISHRS, everyone who's flying their banners, everyone who is the grand poobahs were doing that shit work, in my opinion. And I say in my opinion, I don't even know why I say in my opinion, because it's not just my opinion.
It's the consensus.
It's the consensus.
It's settled science.
Yeah. It's the opinion of every young and older man who was butchered back in the day.
Yeah.
And to this day, these same butchers are still talking shit about me at these conferences. It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Like, give up. I'm not going away, people. I'm not
At least not now.
Yeah. I mean, 1998, you guys tried to cancel me. 99, first lawsuits came in. You can't win.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Guys, the phone number is
First lawsuits.
888-659-3727. I think the industry kind of understood when this young guy was able to defend himself and then essentially demolish one of the biggest guys in the industry to the point where allegedly he ended up having a nervous breakdown. His own fault, not mine. Shouldn't have sued me. And the settlement was, I won't speak, that I have the ability to say whatever I want about his practice, have his patients call on, whatever it is, for 50% of my broadcast. And that's the only, basically I could say whatever the hell I wanted, which was the truth.
Yeah.
And they had some sort of little victory because I could only do it for half my broadcast. Like they were going to time me. And I have to tell you, for the first few shows, I timed it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, it only makes sense.
Anyway,
gotta comply with the order.
You-
Before we continue, I want to address some of the comments in the chat. Multiple people are talking about the hack. So several people have joined late, later than we started late. So I'll go ahead and explain this again, and I'll give a little more detail.
Guys, hold on. We'll take
and
your
someone
calls
that-
as soon as Joe stops babbling. Go ahead.
Someone said that I need to improve my YouTube security. It's not about my YouTube security. It's about Google security in general, and my security was fine. And in fact, it's because my security was fine that none of my other Google-related systems were affected. Like emails, any of the other apps I use using Google login credentials, because I have passkeys, I got two-factor, like everything that you can set up for.
It wasn't his
for
fault,
security.
people.
I have set up. I wasn't the only person hit with this. In fact, there are 2 other hair transplant clinics that I'm aware of that were hit. At least one of them had their channel removed as well. And as far as I know, they're still offline. I've been trying to help them as well. I lucked out with my access to the powers that be at YouTube, where I was able to get my channel back on in 3 days. But here we are over a week later, and a clinic that spends hundreds of thousands of dollars with Google on AdSense cannot get their channel back. And it's exact same hack. It's exact same outcome, where it is, I'll go and tell people, it was a video of the current 47th president, but it was AI generated talking about, I don't want to talk about the specific one, but talking about electronic funds. What's the generic term for it?
I'm going to let
Like
you.
Ethereum
I'm
and
going to
all
let
that.
you struggle with
Yeah.
this. It's cryptocurrency.
Thank you. Crypto, thank you. Talking about cryptocurrency.
What are you,
and it had-
56 now?
You'd think.
It's
At least I'm
happening.
not 60. But you'd think that would be bad enough, but it had one of the worst things that you can do on YouTube is a QR code that was the actual scam, where if you scanned it, then bad things would happen. And of course, the AI generated 47 was talking about how it's the only US-backed cryptocurrency exchange, and it's safe. So yeah, it was terrible. I mean, I understand why they took my channel down. Normally, if you have content that violates the terms of service with YouTube, you get up to 3 warnings. I got 0. That's how bad it was. They're like, what the F is this? And they just took it down. It was all automated. It took me a day and a half just to speak to a human.
Yeah,
But
Mr.
there
Roland,
wasn't anything
Mr.
on my end.
Rolandes,
It was-
don't.
it was-
There's no reason to worry. I mean, just make sure you need to check your channel every morning, every few hours, and if
Yeah.
there's an issue, you need to contact them right away. That's it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that saved me was I was proactive the moment that I found out, which was actually that morning I found out due to our friend Y at Women's Hair Loss Project. She's the one that first let me know. And it was,
Well, you know,
she gets up early in the morning apparently. So
As you know, I think I told you, Rolandes also, he didn't have your direct contact, and he contacted me.
yeah.
And I'm like,
I
he's
remember
already
that too.
He's already on that.
Yeah, and thanks, Mr. Rolandes, for being on that. And I chatted with Mr. Rolandes a little bit behind the scenes. But yeah, so it was bad. A lot of people were affected. And it's only because I was being proactive, to get back to my story, already dealing with YouTube, that they said, yeah, we know that you were hacked. We see this, your account, they were saying your account, but it's actually multiple accounts on their end. That's what saved me.
Can we
Because
talk about hair loss?
when humans were looking at it, they're seeing that I already had reports in before they even got to it saying, hey, what's going on with my channel? So there we go. That's it. If anyone asks about it in the chat room again, brothers in the chat room, please bring them up to speed.
And Rob
I wasn't
Hellner,
hacked.
Rob
YouTube
Hellner,
was.
it's Mr. Kobren, okay? Not Kobren.
Exactly.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. We are live. We're here to answer your hair loss questions. If you're concerned about hair loss, if you're considering surgery, if you don't know what the hell's going on, if you're just starting to lose hair and you see all the nonsense that you see online, you don't know where to turn, look, we're just here to tell you the truth. Don't sell anything. Despite what you may what people are saying on different social media outlets and all of our detractors. Anyone who's taken the time to watch us and to watch me and to watch Joe for all these decades understands what we do, and who understands what we do knows that. I mean, there's so many people who do not want to see us say and do what we do. It's crazy. Before I take your call, I had a guy, I just want to tell you this, Joe, very interesting. I can't get into certain specifics, but we were in contact, and he had a question about you specifically because something was negative about you online, about you being biased and you taking money from doctors and all the typical happy horse shit. And I just said, brother, you haven't done your due diligence. Blocked. Don't contact me again. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to work with you, brother. If you are not smart enough to understand how the internet works and to believe what you read on these forums and Reddit and whatever it is about, when people are trying to assassinate someone's character, sorry, brother. You're too dumb to work with me. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello.
Spencer, Joe. This is one of the old guys that, as Spencer just said, was butchered back in the day.
By Gary Hitzig?
A lot of us out there.
That's right.
What's happening, bro? What's your name again?
Dante.
Dante. Oh, hey, Dante. That's right. So
Dante.
You went. You didn't say you were Dante. You said you were one of the old guys. I didn't recognize your voice. Yeah, so you went to Hitzig, right?
Yeah, that was like 92, 93.
Dude, I was sitting in the reception. I never forget sitting there, Long Island Medical in Manhattan, and there were probably 20 people in the reception area. And this one guy says to me, "What are you doing here?" And I pulled back my hairline, and he's like, yeah, "Still, what are you doing here?" Anyway, I see all these guys sitting there, and they were like sheep to the slaughter, and they had no idea. Gary was, kind of a little bit, kind of hedging with me a little bit, saying, well, maybe if you got a better haircut and cut it a little shorter, it won't be as noticeable. But we could do some, a little work on you if you want.
That's amazing.
And it just didn't feel right. Because I was looking at him, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Look at this poor guy's head of hair.
Well, see, his partner, Seymour Handler, was doing Gary's transplant.
Yeah.
Back then, right?
Yeah.
And he did mine. Gary, so I had 4 over there, and Gary did Seymour did the first 3, and then I think he had died, and then Gary did the 4th one. But this is like way back. Spencer, I didn't even know about your station, so.
Well, I existed, but I didn't get on the air until 1998 when my book was published. So this was several years before I was out there. But I was already doing my research, and I was already like, this is really effed up. How is this even happening to people? And, yeah, man. You know what's crazy, Dante? It's happening today again. And it's worse than ever. You may not see these huge plugs, but the level of destruction and the walking wounded and the reality that these young guys, they're going overseas wherever. They're getting thousands of grafts moved. And they have no idea. Like in your case, you knew you were disfigured right away. It may take these kids 3 or 4 years before they realize they're done. But the problem with these guys is they can't be fixed in most cases. At least you were able to get repaired.
Yeah, so what happened to me, though, I grew hair, right? So I have a hairline. They gave me a hairline, which was not too bad, but the cost of my donors area was destroyed for the amount of, the hair I got, right? So now that was the problem, right? So I had hair, but then I was done. I was like just tapped out. There was nothing left in the back.
Yeah.
So,
But the same thing's happening now. Back then, they were just taking out bigger pieces of tissue. Now they're taking out thousands of pieces of tissue all over the entire scalp, and these kids are finished.
yeah, there's really not. Yeah, that was my problem. There's nothing left.
Right.
So, what I wanted to check in about was that I don't know if you remember. I called about 5-6 weeks ago.
Yeah, you said you're getting another transplant.
Yeah, so I was going down to Dr. Daniel for, beard. So I went. So 5 weeks Tuesday. This past Tuesday was 5 weeks.
Okay.
Just wanted to report back so you guys know what's happening with him.
Okay.
Really, their clinic. So I went down there. It was 5 weeks ago Tuesday, and they wound up doing 2,900 beard
Wow.
grafts. He was only going to do 2,500. So I went down there and I said, I've never had a beard. I'm not going to grow a beard. So whatever that you could find the best hair, take the best hair you could find as much as you can. And I've never seen anything like it. Their setup was just impeccable, right?
Yeah.
I had Dr. Daniel, Dr. Goldstein. At the end of the procedure, they were both implanting with the DHI, right?
Right.
In the beginning, Dr. Goldstein was coring. They had another PA. The PA was pulling the grafts. I didn't know that you had a core like that. I never had an FUE, right?
Sure.
Even though it was my beard.
Mm-hmm.
Then later on, Dr. Daniel was looking for the best hairs, I guess. He was coring, and somebody else was pulling the grafts, and Dr. Goldstein and the PA were implanting at the same time. I had the two doctors working on me pretty much all day. The PA was pulling and implanting, and three other girls, rotating. It was a long day, like 8.5 hours, with a half an hour lunch break. But it was just outstanding. I can't. So if this doesn't work, it has nothing to do with their clinic. It was just outstanding.
I can guarantee you it's going to work. It just depends on how your hair grows, your beard hair grows on your scalp. I mean, there's a good chance if they angled everything correctly and that, the grafts weren't transected, which I'm sure they weren't, at least most of them, that you're going to get a decent result. And that's a lot of hair.
And he said that I had about 20 to 30% of doubles, right? Because normally you get mostly singles. He said I had a good beard. He said they're mostly 20 to 30% doubles. And even right now, so I'm 5 weeks, a little over, it's like 38 days today. I keep counting because I can't wait. But a lot of the hair, so he went from behind my hairline all the way to the crown and down to the fringe. And a lot of the hair from the crown down hasn't even shed.
Yeah.
And from what I read, I think that's a good thing, but I'm not positive. But
well, it's not necessarily good or bad. It's good because you're able to enjoy it faster.
Yeah, if it stays in. Yeah, if it doesn't shed. But I could still feel it, and it feels sharp. It's weird because it's sharp hair because I guess the short beard hair is sharper than obviously your head hair. But I don't know. I can't say enough positive things about the way they operate down there.
That's great. We actually have to get Goldstein more involved with the IHRS. I know that he's. I'm getting so many people are basically contacting me saying that both of these guys are doing surgery on them simultaneously, which I think is great. I mean, it's great that he has another physician in there. And he's not just solely relying on techs. And also, I think it's great that he's even spending the money to have PAs as opposed to paying less. Not saying, listen, there's some incredible technicians out there. But the reality is, at least in this country, and I know there's plenty of doctors who will claim this isn't the case, handling live tissue, inserting it into the scalp, and even extracting it from the scalp is not within the scope of practice of any of these medical technicians, but it is in the scope of practice of a PA. And that ends up costing the practice more money to hire PAs. So I think it's great that, they're really doing the right thing. And listen, Dan's a really good guy. He really tries hard. I remember when he first got into the field, I mean, he was really in constant contact with me, really wanted to know exactly, not just about the industry, not just about how to do well in this industry, but about the nuts and bolts. And he kept explaining how he learned, what he learned, his entire process. I was always impressed by the guy. He's a really smart guy too.
Yeah, he was. Everyone in there was really nice. I was there from I got there 8:15. I left like 6:00. And we had a lot of good conversation, but they just do really a great job. I couldn't say. I just never saw. I was surprised. I couldn't say.
Well, they have a crack operation, and I have to learn more about Goldstein because again, he's performing surgery on a lot of people that are coming through the IHRS, and we kind of have to know what's going on. So it's important that the way that you're explaining things, it sounds like this guy's top notch as well.
Yeah, they were both great. The PA was, and everyone, and they all care. You could see the way they go about it, rotating. It's a lot of work because a beard. Like you guys know, the angle is different. You're bending over a little bit. It's different, and it was a lot of work for them. And he wanted to get 3,000, but he said we're going to stop at 2,900. I said okay.
That's a lot of grafts, man.
It's good. That's a lot of hair.
And how does your face look?
Not good. It's good. I still have a couple little pimples under my chin, under my jaw.
Yeah.
And I usually shave every day, but now I'm shaving like every other day for two reasons. One, it's slightly irritated, but it's really okay, not bad. And there's not as much hair there anymore, anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So you may have a little folliculitis. I mean, that can happen. You can talk to Dr. Daniel. I mean, he may prescribe. There's stuff that you can essentially have prescribed. It's kind of like a topical corticosteroid, but it's mild. I forgot what it's called. But you may not even need it.
Mm.
Yeah, at this point, I think I'm fine at this point. But
just hydrocortisone.
By the way, Joe, I'm having an ocular migraine as we speak, so I just see flashing in my peripheral vision.
Oh, I got a flashlight that's off camera that's flashing.
Second one today,
That's
so
why.
if you guys don't see me next week, I'm out.
He's out. He's gone. He's in the hospital.
Well, Dante, listen, I'm really glad that you sound like you had a great experience. But listen, if it doesn't go well, you never heard of us, all right?
Lose
our number.
Yeah, lose our number.
But I'll keep you guys posted. I'll keep you guys posted. I'll call in here and there. But I always listen to the show. But I tell you the worst part, and I couldn't believe this. So I go back to the hotel, and the next morning I stayed overnight. And the next morning you'd have to go back to the office and they wash your hair. I get in the Uber guy's car and I bang my head on the fucking top of the door. And when I tell you blood,
really,
it was bleeding all over. Yeah. So the Uber guy, and it was only like, I don't know, it wasn't even 3 miles away, right?
Yeah.
So he's driving. I'm back there, and they had given me a shopping bag full of like pillow sheet, pillow covers, like to put in your. I had no blood overnight, when I was sleeping, and I got these things, and I'm holding them on my head, and the blood's coming down, and the driver's looking at me, sir, you okay? Sir, you okay? And I'm like near tears, and he drops me off, and I barge in. It was like 8:00. I barge into the office, and I heard Dr. Daniel talking to one of the girls. So I just barged back there. I said, Doc, I'm sorry, I just smashed my head, right? And I was like,
he probably turned white as a sheet.
Well, he was totally.
I was going to say, he said,
right?
He said, take a seat. I'll be with you in a moment.
Yeah, so I sat down. He says, sit on the table. I sat on the table, and he put the headgear on. And he looks. He says, I don't know if he told me this because he knew I was a wreck, or it was really true. He said, you lost like 2. I said, 2? Mm-hmm. I said, all right, that's true. That's okay. So I don't know if I really lost 2 or, he just knew I was a wreck, and that's what he told me. But then they washed my hair.
Now, how much blood did you see? How much blood did you see on your scalp? Yeah.
I didn't see any
here's
on my
something
scalp.
that
It was
people
running down the side of my head, on my
Yeah,
coming down
exactly.
on my
So
neck.
so here's something that's it's actually surprising to see how much you bleed after a graft is dislodged within the first 48 hours. When you think about it, that graft has been inserted into a skin puncture that's at least 4 millimeters deep. Very rarely, it's not very rarely, but it's rarely less than that, and that's really deep. So, you know, and then when you also consider the diameter of that punch or that hole as well being, you know, 0.8 of a millimeter or so, it's been held open by that graft. So that as soon as that comes out, yeah, it's going to. I used to refer to it as a rivulet of blood streaming out of that recipient site, and it will shock you. It will make you think that you've lost 50 grafts.
But also, you know, I mean, even if you didn't have a hair transplant, and this is why I always find the whole blood flow theory hilarious when it comes to hair loss. If you just scratch your head, or you bang your head a little bit, and you bleed profusely from your scalp. It is like the most vascular, like well blood supplied area, if that's a term, that you could ever imagine. You could be bald as Formica, and you're just going to bleed out from your scalp. And that's why that whole blood flow theory is just, it's agonizing when I keep seeing, and I get basically everything hair loss on my Instagram and on my TikTok. I saw one today about blood flow. You know?
Are you talking about like how they really pack the grafts in, and they tell you that you need blood flow, right? So you can't put them too close. The same kind of idea.
No. I'm just saying that in general, when people are saying that, you know, when people are trying to sell stuff for hair loss and snake oils, and they're saying it really has to do with your lack of blood flow. It has nothing to do with DHT, whatever it is. The scalp is the most vascular area in your body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you nick your head, and you're bleeding. So anyway, listen,
So
Dante.
maybe I did lose. Yeah, if I lost 2, then I'm happy. But that's what he told me. So hopefully he wasn't just trying to calm me down.
Well, you'll know if you have a big divot in your head when your hair grows. You know you lost more than 2. But I'm sure you're going to be okay, Dante.
All right, guys. Thank you. So
but listen, next time, watch your fucking head. I know you're an old man, but come on.
I know I'm bending that. It's for the last 3 weeks after. Yeah, the last 3 weeks after that, I'm bending myself in half to get in my car, anybody's car.
Yeah.
So I am not doing that again. That's for sure.
You should start wearing a helmet. All right, brother. All right, good luck,
guys. Great talking to you.
Okay.
And so you give the clinic gets an A+ from me.
Okay.
So just so you know.
Well, let us know in a few weeks if that stays the same.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
All right. You take
guys.
care.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care.
Phone number is
Bye, Dante.
888-659-3727.
I've heard that so many times, bumping your head, and they're shocked they only lost like 1 or 2 grafts because of the amount of blood. It's so common.
I am like, because of the whole hairspray situation, I'm bending at the knees all the time. I get into a car, people are like, why the car's not that low. Don't worry about it.
You're coming in like a sniper.
Yeah.
Sniper position.
I'm like a ninja
Crawling.
getting into the car. I'm like, don't worry about it. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Spencer, what's going on, Joe? It's John from New York.
John from New York. What's happening?
What's up, John from New York? How are you?
What's going on, Joe? Joe, I was texting you. We were doing Instagram a while ago, and I wanted to give you the update on the hair situation with the cancer and all that other garbage.
Oh,
and then
okay.
you told me about Sean Benham. You told me about Sean Benham, so I flew out to LA to go see him.
All right.
Okay.
But I want to refresh just real quick. So I went to Dr. Merceno, and he said, I'm not the best candidate. He says, maybe I could do 2,000, 2,500. He says, but I really don't like it. And then I took a shot and went to Christine Shaver in New York just to see what she would say. And very ethical. She says, you're not the best candidate. Sorry. She was, it just doesn't look good. So then when you texted me, I said, there's got to be somebody that could help me. So I went out and flew out to see Dr. Benham in person. He saw me and looked at me on the phone consultation. He says, it doesn't look great. He says, but I think with certain things, maybe I could get more than 2,000. I could get 3 to 4 maybe. I go, with my hair, I said, I'm telling you, they put it under a microscope and it's very thin. So when I went out there, he goes, and he was really looking. He goes, you're not the best candidate. He goes, you're really not. He says, I can get something. He says, but he suggested that if I was out there or New York to do the new laser, they're the only ones that do the laser. And then there's somebody else in New York that has laser, and he wanted to do the laser stuff before he did something. He says, so I'd like to do that for like a year to see what we could build up and what we can get.
Now, which laser device are you talking about?
I have no idea. He says only he and some guy in New York have this.
So you're
laser.
talking about the Folex laser?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what he said. I don't remember, but I know that one of his tech guys does it every. He does it once a month, and he said he's the only one.
I mean, there's an Israeli company, and they have this product out a lot. There's a few guys. I think Craig Ziering may have one as well. I'm not sure. And they were in contact with me. We were considering them for, trusted brand status to the American Hair Loss Association. I think there's something to it, for sure. But I haven't seen tremendous, insane results, but I'm definitely seeing something. There are patients that are saying they're getting some improvements. And I think it's a relatively conservative approach where you can actually maybe increase your overall hair density. So I'd be really interested to see how you do, because I want to learn more about it. There's not enough hair transplant guys who are purchasing it yet. You're seeing it more in med spas and stuff like that.
Well, he said that, when his tech guy said, he does it there. He does it once a month there. They wanted to actually give me, they were trying to squeeze me in to get me a session that takes 10 minutes. And I guess it's a laser over your head or whatever. But I couldn't do it. I mean, they couldn't really fit me in, but he wanted me to come back, and then I had to come back to New York. But I don't know who the New York guy, he said it was just him and some New York guy. And he's a great guy, by the way.
Well, find out the name of the device, and I'd be more than happy to help guide you. I mean, they're out there. I mean, they're selling more and more of them, and there seems to be. Right. So, did he say the New York guy was Neil Sadik?
That sounds familiar.
Okay,
that does sound familiar.
So Neil is an old school dermatologist, been around for a long time. He's actually the guy that kind of convinced me that because he was involved with the in-office clinical trial. He convinced me to take a close look. And also what convinced me is there was so much press around it. I was like, okay, I got to see this, because if there's anything out there that could actually improve outcomes or help guys like you, I want to know about it. So I think he's probably talking about Neil, because they're using it in their office. Yeah.
One of the things I really liked him, his enthusiasm. He was really very much a straight shooter. And by the way, Dr. Merceno, Dr. Shaver, all straight shooters. So, very ethical on all three of their parts, and especially Dr. Benham. But, he was a little bit more enthusiastic, and, he did, because he's the only one that uses, he says, I could also get, because, you have a pretty thick beard, so I could get a lot out of that. He said, so you
have to understand that, Dr. Shaver is really a very smart woman, but, really trained under Bob Bernstein. Bob is known as being very conservative. He will say it's being appropriate, which I agree for the most part, but there are things that they don't want to do, and they'd rather turn patients away than taking certain risks. Sean is a little younger in general, not younger than Shaver, but, younger in the field. And he's been a little bit more, let's just say, open to trying things and alternatives than some of the older people in the field.
He did say, he goes, you're not the best candidate. He says, but you're not a closed door.
Yeah. He's even the way that he phrased that, it really just speaks to who he is. He's such a good guy, man. I got to say.
Yeah, he really is. I kind of left it's like, he was just so enthusiastic on the phone. He goes, I'm not going to lie. He goes, you're not the best candidate. He goes, but you're not a closed door. He goes, you got great temple points. He goes, you look great. He goes, you really do look great. He goes, if I were you, I wouldn't really worry about too much. But he says, I think that, he says, you're not a closed door. He goes, I would like to see what happens with the laser. He goes, if you were here and you were living here, we would do it once a month. And he goes, I would see, how you do and what it looks like. He goes, I'm just really looking to play and experiment and see what's going on. He says, because, the back of your hair and the front and the sides, he goes, there's a lot of fair game going on. You got a lot of fair game hair around. He says, but, he goes, and what you told me, your expectations, you're just looking to just not be bald, just a little something, and you don't even care about the crown. So he says, it's not like, he goes, I could probably do something now. He says, but I don't know if you would be totally happy, but he goes, I would just like to proceed with a little bit more experimentation just to see what happens because people have gotten good results. Now his tech guy said that, he's really done well with the
How much
laser.
is he charging per session?
I don't know. I didn't really get to that point. Yeah. Now,
fair enough.
Another thing that happened was I had a phone consultation with Dr. Wong. And Dr. Wong he wanted me to fly out and book me. I told him about everything that happened. And he's like, yeah, I get it. He goes, I know where you're at. I get it. He goes, but we could make an improvement. He goes, I'm not saying you're going to get 4,000 or 4,500. He says, but I can do anywhere from 2 to 3. He goes, we could do some things. He goes, I would recommend FUE. He goes, and we can make a significant improvement. I said, well, when I get out there, is it going to be like, no, we can't do anything? He's like, no. He goes, I get it. So he wanted me to come out to do something and, get on a plane. I don't know if I should because I got 3 doctors telling me no. And then I got this guy, saying, we can do something. We can make an improvement. He goes, I'm confident. He goes, based on what your expectations are, because you told me you're very, you just want something, so that's that.
Mm-hmm. And telling you how, Dr. Wong thinks, he not only believes everything he just told you, he's probably right. He can make a improvement for you. But the question that you have to ask yourself, and I don't know what you told him, but you obviously told him that you've got low expectations. You just want some sort of improvement, and that's what he can deliver for you. So I think that, when he hears that, to him, that's a green light that it doesn't have to be a ground-shattering result. It just literally needs to be an improvement from where you are at baseline. And if that's what you get, then mission accomplished. So,
and then I think
I think.
Go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say that I think that you've been to 3 fantastic doctors outside of Canada. Dr. Banham, Dr. Schaefer, Dr. Merceneau in Switzerland. Their opinions matter because they know what they're talking about. They're ethical. They all are, operating on the same realm more or less as far as capabilities and ethics and all that good stuff. So when Dr. Wong comes out and says, come on out, we can do this, it's based on his taking you at your word that just some sort of improvement is enough. And that's the different way that he looks at this versus other doctors do. So, should you do it? No, you shouldn't do it because you're not in the right headspace for it yet. You've got too many questions. You got to learn more. You got to feel better about it. But when you do, if you do decide to do it, then you're in a good space to make a decision that will more than likely be positive for you. No guarantees, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And why I like Dr. Benham's approach is that it was an artistic experiment that's not going to cause me any damage. It's not going to, either it's going to work or it's not going to work or it's going to work subtly. It's going to work on a minimal level. He's looking to see what we can do, and I kind of like that. I kind of feel like if I go to Dr. Wong, I don't have much to give anyway, and then when I'm depleted, then that's the end of everything.
I actually think that's the best approach. You have another option that is going to be a first do no harm option. And it's very possible that you're going to get some improvement without any downside. So that's huge at this point. Now, that's not to say that Dr. Wong is incorrect, that he couldn't help you in some way, but what happens if it doesn't work out?
Exactly.
And right now you look pretty good according to Sean, so you don't want to look worse.
Right. Well, Joe's seen me, so, but, yeah.
So,
but I did want to go on the record at all three. Like, I was really impressed with all three. Dr. Merceno, and I'm like, it's so frustrating meeting great doctors, great artistry. I knew I'd be in great hands with all three, and I don't have the goods to deliver for them to perform their art.
Remind me, what took you out to what prompted you to fly to Switzerland to see Dr. Merceno?
I didn't fly to Switzerland. Dr. Merceno came to New York, and he was doing consultations.
Oh, that's
in
right.
New York.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I booked a consultation with him when he was here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why I went to Shaver is because I just wanted to hear something else and get her opinion. And she was really great, very ethical, really just great. And then I flew out to LA to get just because Dr. Benham wanted to see me in person based on your recommendation. And I was over the moon with him and, kind of flew back dejected. It's like
and what's funny is he's got the best bedside manner to reject you and make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah. And he's got a nice facility, right? He's got a whole building.
That's so true. He goes, "You look great. You look good." He goes, "How old are you?" I'm like, I told him how old. He's like, "Yo, you look good." He goes, "Let's see what happens." He goes, "It's not closed doors. No, you're good." He was just very, very sweet and just. And then his assistant, he did a hair transplant on him 12 years ago. Guy looked great. Guy was my age. He looked great.
Yeah.
He does look good.
He does look good. It's it's nice to be able to have consults with good people. It's so difficult to find in this field. And it's getting more and more difficult every day. Like every week, there's more new guys popping up. I had a guy who wanted to apply through Instagram. I'm not saying this is a bad doctor. Seems very okay. I haven't had a chance to really look at the work, and I kind of explain what's going on. And they right away they start talking about leads and all this stuff, and it's just like that's the wrong question to ask. I remember when Sean applied, he didn't ask me once about what this is going to do for me. His whole thing was he wants to be involved with the organization. They would watch or listen to the show. Let's see how long it goes. I think he was watching the show back in the day, and just wanted to be involved. And it was just it's like a breath of fresh air. These are different human beings.
Yeah.
So
the thing that popped in my head the most is I told you, Spencer, that many years ago, like in late 90s when I was losing my hair, and I had a lot of it, and I had great donor hair, but I knew I was going bald. I had the consultation with Hitzig, and I just ran out of there. And I'm like, I wish I had that hair now for these guys.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky you ran out of there because you would be full of scars right now.
Well, you can't sit there with a guy who's like, a heart doctor and he's smoking and he's like 800 pounds and coughing.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like, because his transplant was not good.
You know what's funny about this industry? I've known guys with like really bad hair pieces who could sell hair transplants and really bad hair transplants who could sell hair transplants. And it's just wild. We're all so desperate as hair loss sufferers. A lot of guys just overlook it all. Like this guy's standing right in front of you, and he was effed up.
Right.
Yeah. So
now it's so funny. I did get a response from Dr. Zarev in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And I sent him all those pictures. And I sent him everything.
And he said he could do 19,000 grafts in 2 days.
He didn't give me anything. He says, we could help you. He goes, I'm putting you on the list right now. He says, we don't need anything else. I have your information. And I wrote back, and I was just like, well, am I going to fly out to Bulgaria, and you're going to tell me you could do like 3 hairs or something? I'm like, no, I don't think I'm going to go because I really don't trust it. I don't know. You're not going to pull blood out of this stone. Not happening. It's like,
look, the guy's a great mechanic. I can tell you that. But
right.
I just don't know what's going to happen to the patients in the long term. That's my biggest concern. Right. And I have to say, I've said this before. He was an associate member of the IHRS. There were some political issues which I felt were very. This is a funny story. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but we had brought somebody else on from the same part of the world as an associate member. Guy applied, took a look at it, got a recommendation from another AHRS member. Said, "Sure, bring him on board." The day he was listed, we got this anonymous email that was traced back to Bulgaria, of all places, saying that this doctor he's not a real hair transplant surgeon. He's a plastic surgeon. And he just bought this machine, doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. And my first thought was, who would write this the first day this guy is listed on the IHRS?
Right.
And then towards the end of, Dr. Zara being a part of what we do, that kind of came up in conversation. And I was just like, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that a coincidence?
Isn't that a coincidence?
Yeah,
so,
right.
No one here but us chickens.
Yeah. So I feel like now that I've learned, and I've seen what's been going on and the way that things are being promoted, I kind of feel like I dodged a bullet, and I'm not interested in working with these guys who are willing to utilize so much of a young person's, especially donor area, in one shot.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is I told them I had a consult with 3 top U.S. doctors, and very detailed, very intricate. Are you really telling me and selling me that you are beyond them? So there's Joe Montana and Dan Marino, quarterback, and you're beyond them. You're beyond them in skill and what you could get out of a stone. I said, I don't have the hair. All 3 of them told me that. Where are you going to get it?
I make it. I make the hair.
Yeah.
God allows me to create the hair.
Look, I'm not going to take his skill set away from him. The guy is a machine.
Right.
The guy is a machine.
Right.
He has figured stuff out, and he's very meticulous. However, there is no mechanic out there in this industry. The best hair transplant surgeon in the world cannot alter your physiology.
Right.
It's just the reality of the situation. Yeah. And these young kids, they don't want to hear it. These doctors are are booked out for a year or 2. I'm sure there's always a cancellation. That's why you're on the list. But they're making money hand over fist. They're charging essentially first world prices, and it is what it is. Maybe he hasn't seen the complications in his practice yet. He doesn't have that much time on tissue.
Right.
It's only 7-8 years.
Right. And I kind of feel like I'm kind of like, maybe there's a few and far between guys like me that have lost hair cells due to chemotherapy or whatever.
Yeah.
And those guys most of them like me are just happy to be alive, and they don't give a shit about their hair, and they're not looking for hair transplants.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I'm glad that you had these consultations. It's very possible. Who knows what these lasers can do as far as helping to increase some density, maybe awakening some of the dormant hair, and kind of giving you a little bit more coverage.
Yeah, I would love to go to the New York guy. I don't really want to ask Dr. Benham because I feel like
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's Neil Sadek. You can look him up. You can tell him that you called the program, and I said that. I mean, he may not even perform it anymore, but I know that he was one of the first guys in the clinical trials, and he gave it a big thumbs up. and
Right.
he's been around for a long time.
Interesting. Yeah, because I would definitely. It can't hurt. So to try it once a month and see where it goes. I could afford it. And I could afford the best hair transplant. So why not just give it a whirl and see what happens?
Yeah, and tell him you'll document it on the show. Listen, I have no business dealings with Neil. He's a much older guy at this point. I don't even think he's doing transplants anymore. He might be. I don't know. So there's no financial incentive at all to, say, go to this guy. But he's a nice guy. And, if he has the device and it's local, why not?
Is it SADEK?
I think it's SEDICK maybe, or SEDIK. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Don't ask me to spell. All right, brother.
All right.
All right. Good luck.
I just wanted to give these three doctors their props, and if anybody else was out there, I mean,
I'm sure they're going to appreciate it. These people pass this broadcast along, especially the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I also, I want to thank Joe for passing me on to Dr. Benham because it was just worth it, and it was great. It was great. Even
My
though
pleasure. Glad it worked out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, brother. Good luck.
Blessings
Stay in
to you
touch.
guys.
Take care,
Happy
man.
Halloween. And,
All right.
Thanks a lot. I'll keep
Thanks
you
a
posted.
lot.
Ciao.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Ciao.
I love Halloween because you just see all the chicks walking around looking like hookers. Why is that? Why aren't they wearing like a
harder to
spacesuit?
pick them out.
You know what I mean? That's funny. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, this is Mike from Indiana.
Mike, what's
up,
happening,
Mike?
brother?
Hey, not much. How you guys doing?
Okay, how you doing?
Good.
So I got to say, Joe looks just like my uncle.
Uncle
Very
Boris?
Similar face. Similar hairstyle, same glasses. I think if my uncle were 15 years younger, they'd be twins.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, they look almost exactly alike. The only difference is my uncle. He's 70 years old, and he does not have a gray hair on his head.
Wow.
People give him shit for it because when he grows out his beard, it's gray.
Yeah.
And he insists that he does not dye his hair. Is that even possible?
there are people like that.
Yeah.
I've met some, and it's very interesting. It's odd.
Okay, yeah, because I remember a conversation at a family gathering. Somebody asked him about it. He said, "Well, that's bullshit."
Yeah, there are people who they're just genetically programmed. Their beard goes gray, and sometimes their beard goes gray early, and they whatever in their 40s, 30s, but their hair stays dark.
Oh wow. Okay, getting to my situation. Yeah, my dad did. He doesn't have the same gene. He got the bald gene, and so I ended up with that too.
Okay.
So I have a receded hairline and a bald spot on top about 3 inches in diameter. I was told it was a Norwood 4 vertex.
Okay.
So
How old
I
are
had
you?
to consult for a hair. Oh, I'm sorry.
How old are you now?
47.
Okay. So it could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I had to consult for a hair transplant and was told it would be 2 procedures, 1,800 to 2,200 grafts to build the hairline and add density to the front, and then 2,000 grafts for the crown. And
Okay.
they were saying,
And where'd you go to get the consultation? Because it sounds like you went to someone who's kind of reasonable compared to these guys who are really like performing these huge surgeries now.
this is a place in Chicago. I can't remember the name of it, but the Dr. Panine, I believe his name is.
Yeah, Dr. Panine. He's an IHS
yeah.
member. Yeah. Again, I knew it was
Okay.
somebody who was reasonable and who was actually a real hair transplant surgeon, just the way you described it. Go ahead.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, then I got to thinking, I'm weighing my options. Should I do a transplant? Should I try? I'm not on any. Well, I did restart the topical finasteride, topical minoxidil. So I ordered this stuff from Hims a while back. I used it for a couple months and then I just stopped. Had a little bit of a health scare, and I didn't know if that might have had something to do with it. Everything was okay, but I did stop using it. So then I started using it again a couple weeks ago. So I'm just wondering if it's worth my time, because I don't know if it's going to.
Look, you have to be, if you're
takes a while.
considering surgery, and we're not doctors, but I can tell you this as an expert in this field, and I could say that, sorry, certain doctors out there with YouTube channels, you need to be on medication if you're considering surgery, period. Doesn't matter if you're 47 years old. You want to make sure that you can maintain not only your native hair that you still have, but in time, your grafts will begin to miniaturize to some degree, especially if they're not taking from the real sweet spot of your scalp. So I know Dr. Pernine is still doing strips, which is maybe something that he discussed with you. So 100% of that sweet spot would be utilized. So that's good. But medication is key for long-term success of any hair transplant surgery. So you want to make sure that you're responding well to medication first before you even consider going under the knife, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from what I've been reading, it seems like you should be on medication for a year before even considering a hair transplant. Does that sound about right?
100% minimum, in my view.
Yep.
There are guys today who have more significant hair loss than you. Who started medication later in life. And I always think of this guy, Graham, our friend from Australia, who was essentially formica bald for a very long time. Started oral finasteride and low-dose oral minoxidil. And the amount of hair growth he has is unbelievable. He almost has a full head of hair. He still is a slight recession or like a mature hairline that's dense now. And I'm noticing he's sending me pictures, or the last time he sent me pictures, his crown's now filling in a little bit after a couple of years on the medication. And this guy was bald
It continues to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And that's just on the medication?
Yeah.
No, we're done.
BAF.
Okay. Bald as F.
Wow.
This guy was a full-blown Norwood, never coming back. And he came back.
Wow.
So that's a possibility.
Okay.
So I always tell, especially younger guys, listen, just wait. If you're going to do this, you need to be on medication anyway. So see how well you do on the medication. At the very least, you're going to need fewer grafts in most cases.
Yeah, I'm not even looking for perfection. If I were to get to my age 35 here, that'd be fine. A little bit, thin on top and front.
You're not going to get perfection. That's
right.
Just that's the way hair transplant surgery is. The guys that are looking for perfection get effed. You want to get improvement. You want to have a better framing of your face, overall coverage and density, maybe more stylable hair. It's life-changing, especially if you haven't been able to style your hair the way you like, or your facial framing has been off for several years. Once you get that facial framing, even if the hair is thin, it completely enhances your look. It takes years off of the balding process. I ask guys this all the time. Listen, would you be happy the way that you were 4 years into your hair loss? I'm talking about guys who've been bald for a long time. They'd be thrilled. But if you talk to a young guy, they want their high school hairline back. I saw this one guy's video. He said, why don't these guys get, why don't they all get their hairline down very low? If you're going to do it right. I'm like, Jesus Christ. That's doing it wrong.
Hair transplants 101. Where do we start?
Yeah. So anyway, you had a consultation with a real hair transplant surgeon. Good for you. You might want to work with him to monitor you while you're on medication. I know you're getting a subscription, sent to your home. Not a fan of most of these companies. But if you're doing well on it, you're not having side effects, and you're seeing progress, then stick with it. But it's always good to be monitored by a physician.
Okay, yeah, because I ordered it, and like I said, I used it for a little while, and then I stopped, and I'm back on it again. It's only been a couple of weeks, so no visible results. I did not have side effects last time I was on it, so I guess that's a good sign.
A very good sign. Stick with it, and you have a good surgeon out there. And again, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to help you monitor your progress, as well, and not just try to sell you surgery.
Oh, nice.
All right, brother. Any other questions? It's a talk show. We got to go back and forth here.
Oh, yeah. What's it? Well, the other option I was considering was hair systems.
That's a better option. You could always throw it out.
Yeah, you can always stop.
Yeah,
you could always stop. Now most of the companies that you see today, or most of the people who are, they call it installing a hair system now, which is I find to be a funny term.
Installing.
And there's a lot of people now that are kind of going back to the retro term of toupee, and I think that's more of a marketing thing. But I'm noticing all these young kids are getting their entire scalp shaved to put these pieces on. And
they're not messing around. They're like, if I'm doing it, I'm going for everything.
The full Monty.
Just give me the full helmet.
And some of these people have hairlines or some hair in the hairline, and that could be utilized. And so wherever you go, you want to just make sure, if you still have a lot of hair in your head, you're sure you're 4A. So how much hair does he have? So you have like a little bit of a tuft?
Yeah, I've got some on top. Yeah, enough to where if I grow it long enough, I can kind of hide the balding crown. I kind of cover it up.
I mean, they make frontal units, but I know that could be really tough, and a lot of these people don't want to do that, because it's very meticulous work. But listen, if you're cool with shaving, I mean, because you are Nord 4, I mean, it could be life-changing for you, man. While you're on medication, the problem is you're using topical medication, so you won't be able to apply it if you wear a piece. You'd have to get on oral meds to see how you do.
True, yeah. And I have about a 6-month supply of this stuff, so I hate to waste it.
Well, don't worry about wasting it, dude.
No.
You have to make a decision what you want to do with your life. I mean, look at Joe's piece.
True,
it's unbelievable. Yeah. No one could tell.
Unless I move it.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been looking around online, and it seems like they're pretty realistic looking, these modern pieces.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
There's some YouTube channels where they specialize in this stuff, and it's like young guys. And there's a couple of channels based out of Europe. I haven't watched them in a long time, but I remember watching them, and it was fascinating to watch because they're getting into the real details of hairline design and cutting them in, and what you should look for. And the quality wasn't so good to where I'm like thinking, wow, I'd wear that. But there are systems out there. There are wigs out there where I think, or I would think, that would pass my standard for something I'd wear if I wasn't doing hair transplants and I wanted hair. Like, there's some really good systems out there, and it's really fun to find them on YouTube. And it's almost like these channels where someone's rebuilding a 57 Chevy or something and doing engine swaps. That's how cool these are to me sometimes, where they're actually talking about the details of these wigs, and different people coming in, they're talking back and forth, and it's like a garage. I
find it fascinating. I was trying to find a trusted content creator in that space. It's been very difficult, very, very difficult. I can tell you, I have a couple of interesting experiences. I just think that young guys and guys in their 40s and 50s, they should understand this is a real option today, and it's not as frowned upon. You go to this woman's. She's a young girl. What's her name? Toupee Queen on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And most of the people that are commenting, and she's got a huge following, are other women. They just want to see the before and after. And they're like, they love the idea that they call it self-care for men. It's not really self-care, but guys just want their hair back. But it's becoming much more acceptable. Now, I'm not saying it's not, I mean, there's still, people are still going to give you S about it. And mostly men are going to, be negative about it. But if you're comfortable with it, man, are you married?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. If you're comfortable with it, you could feel like, when you meet somebody that you could say, hey, look, your eyelashes are fake. My hairline's fake. Just go right into it.
Yeah.
Once you pull off that Band-Aid, man, if you look good, they're not going to care. You don't have to worry about getting surgery.
Yeah.
True. Oh, let me throw this out there. What do you guys think of hair system on top and the surgery to rebuild the hairline? That's another option.
A lot of people do it, especially if you need temporal peaks built. That's, one giveaway of a lot of hair systems is the hair hat situation, when the temporal points are really recessed far back towards the ear. And these stylists who install these things give somebody a very youthful hairline, and it just looks like, it's totally off. It looks like a hair hat. Now,
it looks terrible.
If they would have provided a much more recessed hairline, but still frame the face, you can get away with it. But most of these stylists don't know what they're doing, and that's what they do. They just give somebody a hair hat. It's like a one-size-fits-all situation.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, there are people who've had a lot of success where they have their hairlines transplanted, temporal peaks done, or temporal points done, and they can wear a hair behind it, and they feel much more comfortable.
I will say that for someone to consider that, they have to be 100,000% committed to wearing a hair system, because, I'll put it like this: doctors with ethics would look at a case like that, and this is the way some of them actually do look at this, and they'll ask them how long they've been wearing a hair system, and if it's anywhere less than 10 years, then they turn them down, because it has to be integrated into their life, just as it is, a limb, like an arm, where they're not leaving, or they're not going to stop using it, because it is a part of their body. Yeah. So if they're that committed to where it's a part of their life that can't be changed by choice anyway, then the doctor feels comfortable enough placing a good strong hairline with good temple points, so that a new hair system can be modified to be placed behind it. And the reason for that is a good hairline will take a lot of grafts, and if a proper hairline's built for the future with a hair system in the plan, and for whatever reason the patient's like, you know what, I'm kind of tired of the hair system, they really don't have any choices, because if they stop wearing it, then they got this strange hairline and nothing behind it, and they have to, and they can't remove it unless they go through surgery where it's literally cut out, which is a whole nother bag of worms, can of worms that's opened up. So it really is no going back. I mean, you've heard us say, once you cut, you're cut. That's nothing compared to this. Like even if it turns out fantastic, there's a whole nother element that you have to have a commitment to, and that's the artificial hair system. So it's a double whammy as far as what you have to commit to, not just surgery, not just medications with the surgery, but the hair system as well.
Okay, so you answered my next question.
Just let him shave your head, glue that shit on, see how it works out. If it doesn't work out, then you have your other options.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good plan.
All right, brother.
All right, appreciate it.
Right.
Oh, one more thing.
All right.
Did you know Tom Likas?
Yes. What about him?
Okay, yeah, because I saw that you did radio in L.A. and I remember I followed his show, and I know he had his show in L.A. I was just curious.
We did our shows out of the same studio in Westwood One Radio for a while. Then he moved, I think, to CBS, and then when 97.1 shut down, he started to do his own thing online for a few years.
Yeah, I do remember that, and I think he's retired now, if I'm not mistaken.
He is retired. I don't think things worked out on a show on I mean, I actually went to his studio when he was doing the online show. And it's unbelievable. I mean, they spent a lot of money in that studio. It was really beautiful. He had, rented this building. It was really cool. I think he did okay for a while, broke even for a while. I mean, I personally think he spent too much money for it. He didn't need to do it that way, but that's how he wanted to run it. And, I think it's a shame that he's not still doing it because he's a very unique talent.
Yeah.
So
it
listen,
seems like he wanted to stick it to the radio business.
Yeah.
So
listen, brother, we're going to wrap things up.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
All right. You take care.
All right.
You too.
Take care now.
All
Let
right.
us know what you wind up doing.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All right, guys, we're not
All right,
going to take
bye-bye.
any more calls tonight. We have a little bit of a situation happening. No, everything's fine. So we will, I'm not going to go live on Instagram. Should I?
You should.
I'm hungry, though.
Carry it over. Oh, well, in that case. I'm crashing.
All right. Guys, if you want to hold on, maybe I'll go live on Instagram for a little bit. Okay.
There you go.
All right, guys, until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid.